Hello, and thank you for joining us for this evening's webinar. My name is Jeff Chidester, and I'm the Executive Director of External Affairs here at the Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy. Tonight's topic is funding your MPP, and it's a big one. In fact, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest factors that determines where people ultimately decide to attend graduate school. I can tell you as a person who's been in graduate school multiple times and is in fact still in a graduate program now, I get it. Grad school is an enormous investment of time, of energy, and yes, money. So you want to get it right. At the same time, people don't often come to policy school to get wealthy. Don't get me wrong, an MPP can provide a glide path into many lucrative careers, but what I mean is that many people that come into our school or any policy school, they do so because they want to be in the arena. They see challenges that need to be solved and they're motivated to lead that change. Those are the kinds of students, those are the kinds of individuals that we want to support here at Batten. So our job in admissions is to, as much as possible, minimize that factor in your decision-making process so that you can ultimately go where your heart's leading you. That's the Batten School. You can rest assured that we'll do everything we can to maximize the amount of funding you receive. So let's walk through some of the details. What does it cost to attend the Batten School? That's a logical starting point. So tuition and fees for the MPP for the current academic year are $29,714 for Virginia residents, $53,612 for out-of-state students. In addition to tuition and fees, you also have to consider the cost of books, supplies, housing, other living expenses. UVA has this great tool on its website called the Estimated Graduate Cost of Attendance, which I encourage you to visit when the time is right. One final note, we offer 5 dual degree programs at the Batten School in collaboration with 5 other schools at UVA. Students enrolled in one of these programs are required to pay Batten tuition and fees only in the semesters in which they are a student at the Batten School. In the remaining semesters, students are required to pay the other school in which they're enrolled. So let me give you an example. If you were in the MPP MBA program with the Darden School of Business, students would typically spend their first year at Batten, where they would pay Batten tuition and fees, their second year at the Darden School paying Darden tuition and fees, and in their final year, 1 semester at each place where they pay the fees of the respective school for that semester. So that's your starting point. It's what I often call the sticker price. And that is a big number, but I always encourage prospective students to keep in mind that they will in all likelihood receive offers of financial support from every program to which they're admitted. So let's walk through some of the options that help students get the cost of the program as low as possible. First, there are fellowships. Fellowships are the primary way that we provide financial aid at Batten. They're awarded on a per semester basis in the form of indirect aid. That's used to cover the cost of tuition and fees. At Batten, fellowships are what's known as unearned aid. Therefore, there's no work requirement or any expectation of some sort of repayment. We offer 2 kinds of fellowships at Batten. First are what's called merit-based fellowships. All students accepted into the MPP are automatically considered for a merit-based fellowship. Awards are based on the materials submitted in your application, so no additional information is required. This fellowship is extended just as part of your admission offer. The amount in merit-based aid varies considerably from student to student, and it is based on the quality of your application, the quality of other admitted students' applications, and the amount of funding available. Merit-based fellowships are offered for both years of graduate study, as long as the student remains in what's known as good academic standing. The second kind of fellowships are need-based fellowships. So MPP students with demonstrated financial need may apply for a need-based fellowship in each semester of their second year of graduate study. So applications for need-based fellowships are typically requested in the spring of your first year following the assignment of the following fall's graduate teaching assistantships. Students must complete the FAFSA and UVA's financial aid application to be considered for a need-based fellowship. We also award 3 Bocock Hits Public Service Fellowships. These are need-based fellowships that are given each year to 3 first-year MPP students that are interested in pursuing a career in public service. These students receive the Bocock Hits Fellowship also in their second year, as long as they remain in good academic standing. So once you have your fellowship offer, you have kind of your first order decision to make. Some of you will be fully funded. Some will choose immediately to pursue student loans. Some will decide to simply pay the balance due. If this is you, congratulations. The vast majority of students, though, they'll pursue additional ways to fund their graduate education. So let's walk through some of those most common options. Some students will qualify for the Federal Work-Study Program, which provides annual awards of up to $5,000. To be considered, you must select this as an option on the intent page of UVA's financial aid application. Eligibility is based on financial need and must be earned through student employment. Many job opportunities are available here at Batten and at other places both on and off campus. Even without federal work study, many students find part-time employment at Batten in their first year. The most common types of positions for first-year students include research assistants who work directly with Batten faculty or research centers. These jobs are posted on an as-needed basis. And staff assistants who work with Batten's administrative units, admissions, communications, career services, etc. We frequently hire students to work about 10 to 20 hours per week, and jobs are posted on an as-needed basis. Students may also find employment within other parts of the university or even in the local community. However, according to university policy, you may work no more than 20 hours per week in university jobs when school is in session. In your second year, there's some additional job opportunities that become available. These include being a graduate grader. These are people who grade student work and respond to student questions. Number of hours per week for graders varies based upon the course. You could be a graduate tutor. They are responsible for working with students one-on-one for assistance in quantitative coursework when it's determined that a student needs more help than is provided as part of the standard curriculum. Hours per week also varies based on the tutor's availability and student needs. The most sought after position for second year MPP students is what is called the Graduate Teaching Assistantship, or the GTA. There are usually about 10 to 15 GTA positions available each semester, so they are competitive. Those selected to serve as GTAs receive tuition remission in the amount of in-state tuition for that semester, plus health insurance for the entire year, plus $6,000 in wages, okay? So if you're a GTA for one semester, you get the equivalent of in-state tuition taken off your bill. If you're in-state, that means you get full funding, plus health insurance for the entire year, even if you don't GTA in the other semester, plus $6,000 in wages. There's a really important caveat for out-of-state students though. If you're selected to serve as a GTA, you will receive either in-state tuition remission or your original merit-based fellowship for that semester, whatever is higher. So you cannot combine the two. So if, for instance, you had a fellowship that was near full funding, then you wouldn't actually need to have that, that in-state tuition remission. You would choose to keep your original fellowship. And this is all specified throughout the webpage and in other materials when you will be applying for the GTA. One final avenue for funding that I would really encourage you to pursue early is external fellowships and scholarships. So at Batten, we partner with some of the world's most prestigious programs with special benefits to those selected for these awards. This includes Truman Scholars, Pickering Foreign Affairs Fellowship, Payne International Development Fellowship, Rangel Graduate Fellowship, the Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award, and others. So for instance, Rangel Fellows who are in state, they get the remainder of their tuition covered by Batten. Rangel Fellows who are out of state receive a minimum of $22,000 a year from Batten to match the Rangel Award that they receive. There are literally thousands of scholarships and fellowships available to grad students, so I strongly encourage each of you to pursue these sources of additional funding and pursue them as early as possible. Now, if after all of this, you still owe tuition, which is typically the case, there are two options. So for those of you with a small balance, or maybe you bought a lucky scratcher, you can choose to pay the remaining tuition. Or two, you can look into graduate student loan options. You would apply for loans by completing a FAFSA application. And you can find UVA's school code on our webpage. For those of you taking notes, 003745. Also on our webpage is a wealth of information about which loans may be best for you, some good tips on terms and repayment of each kind of loan, and a bunch of other resources. There's also someone at UVA Student Financial Services by the name of Debbie Davis. She is truly the best in the business when it comes to grad school loans. She will make a presentation to our admitted students in the spring, but she's also been very generous with her time and her wisdom. So if you want to be connected with her or reach out to her, please just let me know. And I'm sure she'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Okay, I just threw a ton of information at you in a really, really short time. If you don't retain it all, that is okay. You will undoubtedly have a bunch of questions in the weeks and months ahead. Please don't hesitate to ask them. This is very important. This is a really, really important part of your search. And we want to be a resource in providing all the information you need, okay? So please don't hesitate to ask. To that end, let me put in the chat box a couple of things. I want to link to the tuition and financial aid page that is on our website. And that tracks pretty closely with what I just mentioned. And then I want to make sure that I provide my own email in case you have follow-ups as well. With that, instead of me talking more at you, let's have a conversation. So I am happy to take any questions that are on your mind.